Hi, my name's PJ, and I'm really excited to be here tonight. How are you guys doing? Wow, that's more than I expected. Anyway, I live in West Philadelphia. I work for a church here, and it's been a really great experience for me. And we love Jesus, and we are inspired by Jesus and everything he does. You can read about him in the Bible. And one of the things that we've been really inspired by is how he likes to empower and give opportunity to people. And we thought, hey, we should do this at our work. And so we created a paid staff position for local high school students to have a chance to have real professional work experience, get to work in the office, and also a place where we can really invest in them. And it's really been great, and these kids, I've had 2 kids over the past year and change who have I've sort of been in charge of to be their boss and to mentor them and stuff like that. And it's been pretty cool, but they've had some rough spots, and there's been some areas where I had to teach them a lot of things. My first employee was not really good at understanding the concept of showing up on time or at all. And there are often times where he just would show up late or just not show up and he would never call me. And this sort of came to a head one day where he just didn't show up for our service, which was a big deal, really pissed me off. And he didn't call, I couldn't get in contact with him for a few days. And he eventually called me up and he told me, he's like, listen, I'm really sorry, but I was running late, and I know you don't want me to be late, so I just didn't come. And I didn't call because I thought you'd be really mad at me. So he was true. I was really mad. And but I realized that he was so afraid of me that he didn't reach out to me, and I realized that there might have been something wrong. I mean, his logic was pretty fucking bad, but at the same time, I realized that maybe I need to change or do something different. So I can be more approachable. And I realized I might have had the same kind of issue with my father growing up. My parents were really nice, and I think they did a pretty good job raising me in some ways, but there were definitely times where I was very intimidated by them. I remember this one time I was 11 years old, and I had my friend over to watch a movie. We were hanging out at my house, and we were really hungry, and we wanted to get a snack. And I couldn't find anything in my house except for a bag of popcorn, microwavable popcorn, which would have been great. It would have been a perfect snack for a movie, except we didn't have a microwave at the time. It was sort of, we were in between microwaves. And so my friend Ben suggested, why don't you just make it the old-fashioned way? And I'm like, okay, how do you do that? He said, just throw it in the oven. So I took the bag and I put it in the oven, I turned it on, and I had like sort of one eye on the movie, one eye on the oven, and it really wasn't popping that well. So I turned it up all the way, and just trying to watch it, and it was sort of all lumpy and stuff. And I opened up the oven, I was watching it, and I noticed that there's this little drip coming down of stuff, and it formed this really hot pool of liquid on the bottom of the oven. And I was a little dipshit, I didn't know what was going on. And I watched it sort of erupt into flames, which caused me to panic a bunch. And I started running, and my parents, I think, were outside in the garden or something like that. And I started running, ah, Dad, fire, popcorn, whatever. And all of a sudden, he came running in, and he opened that oven, and I kid you not, there was like this fucking backdraft of fire shooting out into him, and it turned into sort of a shit show where he's grabbing a fire extinguisher, trying to shoot it down, and popcorn's going out all over the place. He's yelling, my mom's freaking out, my friend Ben is trying to see what happens in Home Alone. And I come to the conclusion that I need to get the fuck out of this house. So I start running. And I don't make it too far. I find the biggest tree I can, and I run all the way up, and I climb all the way to the top of the tree. And I sort of hear the commotion die down. My friend Ben wanders out and just sort of sees me like shivering up in this tree. And then my dad sort of storms out. And at this point, he's kind of like Darth Vader to me. And he's walking out, and he turns to my friend Ben and just says, where is he? And Ben just sort of points up to the tree. And I'm up there, and my dad's like, come down, PJ. And I said, I don't want to come down. I don't want to come down. You're going to kill me. And he says, I'm not going to kill you. I'm like, yeah, you're going to kill me. You're going to rip my head off. For some reason, I had this fear that he was going to rip my head off. I don't know where that came from. But after a lot of pleading, he eventually got me to come down. And he wasn't as hard on me as he should have been, I think, or I was expecting. I think that's because I had a friend over. But when I reflected back on that, I realized that he was very intimidating to me. But at the same time, I think I did a pretty stupid-ass thing by putting a bunch of popcorn in the oven. And when I reflect over to my parents' experience, what I inherited from them was a lot of, there were times where I was maybe scared of their disciplinary actions, but at the same time, I think they really taught me a lot of responsibility and a lot of good lessons. And really, that's what I'm hoping to impart on the kids I'm the boss of right now. And I hope that they're not scared shitless of me all the time, but at the same time, I want them to respect what I'm trying to teach them. And I really hope that, I think Jesus would do a much better job than me, but that they can learn a lot of valuable lessons from working at the church. But I know myself well, and I'll say this: if any of them burn the damn church down by sticking popcorn in the oven, they better find a big fucking trade. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.